Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. If you're shopping for an engagement ring, we want you to feel like a kid in a candy store. All of our diamonds are in stock, in-store and online, so you get to use your eyes, not your imagination. Come in and look at marquee-shaped diamonds right next to ovals and pears. As your friend and jeweler, you can trust you'll get your dream diamond at an everyday competitive price. We have the widest selection in-store and at shaneco.com, because a friend knows choosing a diamond is personal. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help that often requires only simple maintenance. However, if left untreated, could lead to costly repairs. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Don't wait until a simple garage door repair becomes a major problem. If your garage door is noisy, if bugs are getting in, or if it struggles to open, your garage door is in need of springs, rollers, and openers are tested by running them up and down, open and closed all day, 24/7, so you can feel confident with every A1 garage door repair. Replacing the bottom rubber on your garage door can have a huge impact on the number of bugs you see in your garage and in your home. Keep those creepy crawlers outside by calling A1 Garage Door Service today and receive the best service, best parts, and best warranty in the industry.
A1Garage.com, A1 from day one.
Call today and take advantage of our $29.95 tune-up special.
Hey, it's Big Cat from the Pardon My Take podcast. If you're looking for a drink that keeps the fun going without weighing you down, pick up some Truly Hard Seltzer. It's crazy refreshing, comes in tons of different flavors, and has only 100 calories per serving. Truly makes it easy to keep the fun going with your crew, which is exactly why it's the official hard seltzer of Pardon My Take. Whether you're out with friends, hosting a game day at home, or just kicking back, grab a Truly Hard Seltzer. Pick it up at your local Total Wine, Walmart, or Circle K, because there's always a lot of party left, Phoenix.
Get more summer for your dollar with 4 slams for under $10 each at Denny's, like the new Red, White, and Berry Everyday Value Slam. It's summer on a plate with blueberry stuffed pancakes topped with strawberries, and for under $10. Valid at participating locations. Limited time offer. Additional restrictions and surcharges may apply at some locations.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Another good start from Zac Gallen, a series opening win for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and pressure on the Arizona State Sun Devils. All of that, the focus of this, the Tuesday edition of the lunch break, here on KDUS AM 1060, streaming on the KDUS AM 1060 app, and you can watch the show always over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours here on the program. Producer Evan is behind the glass, pushing all the buttons, taking your phone calls. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join the conversation here today on the show. And I feel like I'm going to say something here in the open of the program that may bother some people. I'm getting ahead of it here because I'm watching these baseball games a little differently, and I need to make an admission to all of you. So that is where we will start today's program.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
It's a win last night for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A series opening win against the San Diego Padres. Producer Evan, fireworks, pomp and circumstance. Should be a celebration here on the program. We should be excited to open the Tuesday edition of the show. Division rival taken down. Zac Gallen, excellent start. There should be excitement in the air. I'm not going to fake it. I don't have the excitement. I'm not excited that they won the game last night. I'm not excited that Zac Gallen looked good last night, at least in the context of wins and losses. I'm watching the Diamondbacks differently right now. I am now watching this team at this point of the season, and I'm watching how good the guys who are going to get traded at the end of the month play. I'm watching a Zac Gallen start saying, yes, Zach, go out there and dominate, increase that trade value, make it to where teams are going to be just trying to outbid one another for your services. Josh Naylor hitting a home run. You keep going, Josh. You keep doing that. Drive that price up. Eugenio Suarez, get involved. Shelby Miller, have a good outing. I am not watching the Arizona Diamondbacks for wins and losses, for gaining ground in the wild card race, closing the gap between them and the 4 teams in front of them in this playoff chase. I am no longer watching these games through that lens. I'm watching these games to watch the players that we all think are going to go by the end of this month, hoping that they continue to play well so that this price can continue to be driven up so that Mike Hazen can make the most out of a bad situation and can get a good return to set this team up for 2026. So I want to start the program by asking, does that make me a bad person? Does that make me a bad radio host? Does that make me a bad media personality to say that I am not watching these games caring about the wins or the losses? I am caring about the individual performances of this team right now because I said it last Monday. I'm not changing my tune. This team is done. Beating the San Diego Padres last night does not change that. They win a game. They're still below 500. They're still 4.5 games out of a playoff spot. They're running out of time. So I am now watching these games, excited that Zac Gallen had a good night. We'll touch on his start in hour number 2 of the program. But I get excited at those numbers and how he looked because of what it's going to get the Diamondbacks back at the end of the month if they choose to move him. Does that make me a bad person?
No, it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a realist. You have to look at this team and understand where they're at. Even if they play great baseball with all the injuries they've had, can the back end of this pitching staff hold up? Can the bullpen hold up? You know, we think this offense can, and so far they've proven they can. But can they get the pitching? And you and I both think no. And they've dug themselves into a hole. They're still below 500. They still have 3 teams, 4 teams, however you want to look at it, in front of them in the wild card race. They have to do a lot of work to get back into the wild card. And it's just work that I don't think they can get done given all the injuries they've sustained this year.
It's a hole that I think is too big to dig out of. I thought it was too big to dig out of a week ago. I still think it is too big to dig out of. Do I like that they're winning and fighting and trying to stay as close as they can to this race? Absolutely. You want to see the team fight. I don't want them to roll over and wave the white flag and lose every game. That's not what I'm not saying this in a I want them to tank way. 1, you don't tank in baseball, and 2, that's not enjoyable to watch. We just went through watching the second half of a Sun season that was miserable to watch the team lose over and over, night in and night out. I am not wishing for that, but you used the word, and I'll steal it. I'm trying to be a realist. I'm trying to look at this and not be phony and say, oh, no, they've got a chance. Oh, no, just one series. We gave them their chance. We gave them a lot of chances. The last chance was those 9 games against those 3 really bad teams. Once they didn't take advantage of that stretch, that is where they lost me. That is where I no longer wanted to try to spin a tale of, oh, if they just win this series and that series, and if they just win this many games during this stretch, they'll be fine. I got tired of continually kicking the can down the road. So now I am watching these games differently. So great that they won. Great that they played a competitive baseball game. Always good to beat a division rival. Always good to be a thorn in the side of the teams that you face more than anybody else. Your direct rivals, the San Diego Padres. You enjoy that. But I enjoyed more that Zac Gallen pitched well last night. I enjoyed more that Josh Naylor went yard last night. I enjoyed that the pieces that the Diamondbacks are more than likely going to trade at the end of the month continue to play well and continue to drive up the price for the end of this month. Continue to say, you want one of the best bats on the market? You got to call Mike Hazen and the Arizona Diamondbacks because you need Josh Naylor and or Eugenio Suarez. You need a starter. You know who you need to call? Mike Hazen and the Arizona Diamondbacks, because have you seen Zac Gallen in his last 2 starts? Have you seen what Merrill Kelly has done his entire career, but this season in particular, is being a model of consistency? That's what I care about. If Zac Gallen pitched that well last night and the Diamondbacks lost the game and Josh Naylor hit a home run, I would feel the exact same way I felt waking up this morning. The exact same way I feel right now with this microphone turned on. The Diamondbacks won, and it didn't change anything about how I feel about this team.
No, the end results now, you don't want to say they don't matter, but they do take a back seat to what do the next 3 weeks look like, right? And what are trades? What are returns going to be? The Diamondbacks have a serious chance to get one of the biggest returns between all 5 players they could trade I've ever seen at the trade deadline. I mean, this is an opportunity that they may not get again to improve their ball club next year, the year after that, 3 years down the line. They can get significantly younger and get a boatload of young talent to rebuild this team around guys like Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo who are going to stay. You have an opportunity to play for next year or 2 years down the line when Corbin Burns is back healthy. What does the team look like then? And so I get being, wow, they won. Maybe they're back in it. I understand that just because of the seesaw nature and the expectations that were on this team. But that's just not how you can look at it anymore.
No, it's just not how I'm choosing to look at it. If there are others out there that want to continue to go through this painful exercise, this painful journey of this team, they're a 500 baseball team. That's what they've been for over 90 games now. So I don't know what you expect to happen differently over the remaining 60, 70 games that this team is going to play when they are showing you, telling you on a nightly basis that, yeah, they can have nights like last night. They can look great. They can look like a team that could take 3 out of 4 from the Padres, could take 3 out of 4 from the Giants. They look like a team that can do that. And there are times where they are a team that gets swept by the Miami Marlins. That's why they're a 500, below 500 baseball team. That's why they can never get any momentum going. They start to try to ride the wave, but they're unable to do it. And so I don't want to be on the journey anymore. I don't want to ride the wave. I don't like surfing in the waters. I'm going to sit on the beach. I'm just going to go lay out in the sun and watch. I don't want to be out in the ocean anymore. I don't like the ocean in the first place. Don't want to be out there right now.
Not an ocean guy.
Not an ocean guy.
Really?
Not a fan.
A huge ocean guy.
Love the ocean.
Love it.
I don't mind the beach. Sand. Nice cool drink. Little towel, umbrella over you. Got the nice shade. You can play some beach volleyball or beach soccer. When it comes to the water itself, I'll keep my distance.
That's crazy. I just, the water, arguably the most fun part about the beach.
If I was going to get in the water, I'd just go to the pool.
That's a crazy take.
A lot less things can go wrong in the pool than in the ocean. There's sharks in the ocean. There's jellyfish in the ocean.
Coming up, by the way.
You will not find me watching any Shark Week content.
I haven't watched it in years, but I always get pumped when it's coming around the corner.
I mean, it pun intended, Shark Week has jumped the shark. It went from being just like this little quiet thing that nobody really talked about, and now it's just become this like pop culture icon. I'm good.
They've done a good job marketing.
That's fine. I'm good.
By the way, last night, how about they get to first inning, whatever, they go through it. D-backs don't score a run. You get to the bottom of the first, and immediately Zac Gallen walks Tatis to start the first inning. You're like, oh no, here we go again.
There you go. I mean, that's what this team is. When they look great, they look great, but they can also look really bad. And when your gut reaction is when the bottom of the first starts the way that it does, oh no, it's because this season you have seen the train fall off the tracks over and over and over again. And I've got too many games that are on our list of meltdowns, too many games where we've talked about where those things have led to disasters for this team that it's just hard to get excited after one win. Like if they melted down last night, I don't think I would have been red hot today. I think I would have just been fine. I think I would have been like, well, Zac Gallen was great. Josh Naylor hit a home run. Things are looking good for the deadline. Like I don't think we would have added it to the list, of course, But I think there have been other meltdowns this season where I don't think I've gone full. I haven't melted down harder than the Diamondbacks have melted down, but I've gotten close. I've gotten close to yelling and screaming. I don't think I would have done that today. I think I would have been as even-keeled as I am right now. Just the apathy has just come over me when it comes to this baseball team. I'm just kind of done. That's why I asked, does it make me a bad person? You're looking at me through the glass like, why are you saying this? I'm just being honest with the audience.
It doesn't make you a bad person. I think it's funny because I felt like I was the first one to say that.
You were through that
baseball team.
You were through that wall the second week of May. So
yeah, and I feel like I was getting crushed. It was like, well, let them hold on. It's like, watch. I'm telling you, this team doesn't have it. And and for 3 days they look like they do, and then 3 days they look like a bottom feeder in the National League.
And that's when you add it all together. That's why it's not surprising that they're 45 and 46. I'm no longer surprised that they sit where they sit in the standings. I'm no longer surprised that they have this massive uphill battle. I'm no longer surprised by it. Injuries, underperformance in the bullpen, starters haven't been good consistently enough. It all makes sense. It's not like we're sitting here opening the program searching for answers like, why are the Diamondbacks a game below 500? Why are the Diamondbacks 4.5 games out of a wild card spot? No, I can tell you those answers. There's 14 games on the meltdown meter. There's the answer. Corbin Carroll missed a bunch of time with an injury. That's the answer. Corbin Burns down with Tommy John surgery. The rotation hasn't been consistent enough. That's the answer. I've got the answer. It's very easy. And so when you watch the same stuff night in and night out, you just learn to accept it. You just learn to just embrace it in some way. And that's kind of where I'm at with this baseball team. So I'm not getting too high after a win like last night, just like I'm not getting too low if they would have blown the game last night. That's just where I'm at with this team. Apathy. Good for Zac Gallen, good for Josh Naylor last night. Good for the trade deadline plans for the Arizona Diamondbacks. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, the Phoenix Suns have had a pretty busy offseason. Are they following a plan? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West, every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
The Mazda More to Move You sales event is going on now at Mark Mazda in Scottsdale. Right now, receive 1.9% financing for up to 60 months on the brand new 2025 Mazda CX-50 or CX-50 Hybrid.
Or receive $10,000 off the top of MSRP when you lease a brand new 2025 Mazda CX-70 or CX-90 plug-in hybrid. Think of how low your payment will be with those savings. Go to markmazdascottsdale.com.
The name to remember, Mark Mazda, Mark Mazda, on approved credit plus $998 fee.
Stevie Nicks. One special night, October 7th, PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Stevie Nicks live at PHX Arena.
Fulton Homes is bringing legendary Fulton quality back to the West Valley. Explore 4 exceptional West Valley locations with more standard features and thousands of ways to personalize your home. Find out why people buy Fulton Homes over and over again. Fulton Homes, you're proud to own, we're proud to build.
Got mouths to feed? How about a dunk contest? For a limited time, a 20-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's is just $6. Everybody will jump at the chance to dunk their chicken McNuggets into those crowd-pleasing dipping sauces, sweet and sour, ranch, and tangy barbecue. You'll probably see some reverse dunks, 360-degree slams, and the classic two-handed jam. Host your dunk contest tonight with a 20-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's for just $6. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
HomeU is at home, watching the great outdoors on TV.
For the lone gazelle, there sadly is no escape.
Road-U always has an escape in an RV covered with Geico's added 24/7 emergency roadside service. For more Road-U time, get more with Geico.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. We are joined right now by Kyle Whittingham.
As long as I'm excited about coming to work every day, have a ton of energy and passion about what I'm doing, as long as my wife continue to support me, she may have the final say on this one, when it's time to quit. But as long as I'm excited to come to work every single day and be around these players, that's kind of what I'm gauging on. If there comes a time I wake up and say, hey, that's enough. I don't want to. I've had enough. I've got no energy left, and it's time for me to go. So I guess it's kind of vague, I know, but that's kind of how I'm approaching it. It's just a year by year basis.
I appreciate that. And by the way, Whitney, how it is, happy wife, happy life. You may come home and she may decide it's time for you to go back to work.
That's true. There's a possibility of that.
Kyle, as I mentioned at the very top, I always enjoy our conversations this time of year. Thank you for making time, not only today, but every year at this time.
Appreciate that, Jim. Thank you very much.
Okay, Whit, be good. Kyle Whittingham. I'm Jim Rome.
You need parts? O'Reilly has parts. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select pads for just $10. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you are 50 or older, it is recommended that you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're an adult 19 to 49 with certain underlying medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, chronic heart disease, or COPD, vaccination is also recommended. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. Furnished by the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. 10 minutes from now, how much pressure is there on the ASU football program and Sam Leavitt in particular? That coming up in about 10 minutes from now. But we've been talking a lot recently about the Suns and their offseason up until this point and what left they have to do. They checked one of those boxes off over the weekend, the extension for Devin Booker, the 2 years, $150 million. It looks like the next step on their offseason journey is close to happening. A buyout of Bradley Beal could happen any moment now, as already there is reporting on where Bradley Beal will be going after he gets bought out, talking about it as if it is a foregone conclusion. Very much feels like that is the case, and that would be the closing of the last chapter of Phoenix Suns basketball. And I think on this program, both producer Evan and myself have discussed many times how we've enjoyed watching this team operate this offseason. It has been a pleasant surprise how they have chosen to conduct themselves. We have been a fan of a lot of the moves that they have made. We have changed our opinion of somebody like, let's say, a Jordan Ott. We were kind of questionable about the hire at the time. After the press conference, I came on this show and said, Jordan Ott is the person I trust the most out of anybody in the building right now for the Phoenix Suns. Then Brian Gregory, I think, earned a little bit more of our trust with what he did on draft night and seeing what this team is trying to build. We said we see the vision. We've been very consistent that, hey, things are going better than we expected so far up until this point at a very critical offseason for this team. So that's why I was a little bit surprised to see a story on ESPN today tiering all of the teams in the NBA after free agency, specifically in the West, and not where they had the Suns, but what they chose to say about the Suns. So the story over on ESPN, NBA free agency 2025, the new West tiers after flurry of moves. Surprisingly, I hope everybody's sitting down for this one. Tier 1, all by themselves, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I know, shocking. The defending NBA champs, if we're tiering teams in the Western Conference, are put in a tier all by themselves at the top. Shocking news, but yes, they're at tier number 1. Tier number 2, titled Ready to Deny a Repeat Champion. You got Houston in there, you got Denver in there, Minnesota in there. All those teams make sense. Tier 3, titled The Old Guard, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Mavericks. Again, so far, nothing to disagree with. Tier 4, young and hungry. The Memphis Grizzlies, the San Antonio Spurs, the Portland Trailblazers. Again, so far, nothing to disagree with. And then you get into Tier 5. And Tier 5 is titled, What's the Plan? Then when they get to the Phoenix Suns, here's what they say, quote, what's the plan has been a fair question to ask Phoenix for a while now, and this offseason hasn't offered any meaningful clarification. The Suns didn't get a great return when trading Durant, while simultaneously adding 2 centers on draft night and still lacking any natural point guards or power forwards in their projected rotation. Devin Booker and Jalen Green could make for a very awkward fit as a starting backcourt. Expect the Suns, led by owner Matt Ishbia, to keep sacrificing the future to try to compete in the present, but don't expect too many actual wins, end quote. Now, I'm not going to disagree that there's some redundancies with Devin Booker and Jalen Green. We talked about this. But Jalen Green is 23. I do think they're going to bring in a veteran point guard, and I think they're going to be able to figure this out. I'm still baffled that people are confused by what the Suns did on draft night. I am baffled that people watched Phoenix Suns basketball last year, watched their inability to be physical at the rim, their inability to win the rebounding battle night in and night out, having zero physicality, having zero grittiness to dive for loose balls, to attack players at the rim, to be willing to be physical, watching that team play, and then being surprised when they prioritized getting 2 centers. When they prioritized one of the best players in the draft falling to them at 10, taking that player, and then doubling down by getting another young player who's physical. And really the only knock on this player in Mark Williams is his health. I'm still shocked that people are surprised by what they did. I watched all the games last year. I watched this team not be physical, night in and night out. So they put an emphasis on physicality. They put an emphasis on defense at the rim. They put an emphasis on a position that was a major sore spot for them last year, the center position. Did they get an excellent return for Kevin Durant in a vacuum when looking at who Kevin Durant is as a player? No. But understanding that he's 37 years old, understanding that there were not a lot of teams that were interested in driving up the price, I think getting back your own top 10 pick to try to kickstart your retool, getting back culture players like a Dylan Brooks and a Jalen Green, I thought was okay. Not great, but okay. So there's no plan? No, there's very clearly a plan. You may not like the plan. You may not think the plan is going to work. You may think the plan is doomed from the start, but there is very clearly a plan. There was a plan on what they wanted their next head coach to be. They executed on that plan. They had a plan of what they wanted to do in the draft and free agency, and so far up until this point, they have executed that plan. There's a difference between agreeing with the plan and there not being a plan altogether. But the Phoenix Suns, Brian Gregory, Matt Ishbia, Jordan Ott, this entire organization, they have a plan.
There was holes on this roster. There was a clear-cut problem. And there was a few of them last year. One, they didn't have a point guard, and they talk about that in the article. Yeah, they still don't.
Sure.
Okay. But they had multiple problems other than that. One of them being defense at the rim, not having a true center. you've addressed that issue. You have gone out there in the draft, understood what your problem was, and have made a conscious effort to fill the hole. They've talked about building culture and the type of players they're going to bring in. These are the kind of results I wanted to see. To me, this offseason has been a huge plus on the Suns. And the biggest knock may be you should be in a rebuild. Sorry, Matt Ishbia. Sorry to the Phoenix Suns. The biggest knock may be you should be tearing it down and building it back up. And they're not. They're going through a retool. But at least I know they have a plan. I might disagree that they may need to tear it down and start from the beginning again, or they just need to add pieces and get younger. But I know that their plan is the latter and that they're attacking it in the best way they feel fit.
If you wanted to be critical of the Suns offseason because there was a better deal they left on the table for Kevin Durant, if you wanted to be critical of the Suns offseason because they reached for a player at 10, because they reached for players in the draft, because they didn't maybe hire the right coach and their process was really flawed and they just went and just picked somebody because of the connections that Matt Ishbia had to that person. If they did all of those things, you could argue that there's no plan. You could argue, what are they doing? Do they know what they're doing? There was no better offer on the table for Kevin Durant. So yeah, did they get a great return for Kevin Durant? No. Nobody's going to tell you that they got a great return for Kevin Durant. Did they do okay, all things considered? Yeah, I would say they did okay, all things considered. That Minnesota trade that we all loved wasn't on the table once Kevin Durant said he wasn't going to go there because they wanted to sign him to an extension. So once that was off the table, Houston's deal was the best deal you could get. You didn't reach for Malawach at 10. You got a player that nobody thought was going to be there at 10. You traded for a center that the Lakers were trying to trade for at the deadline last year to give them a center to make a championship run. So how bad of a trade was it? You hired Jordan Ott after an extensive head coaching search. And in one press conference, he won me over. So again, you don't have to like the plan. You don't have to, you may want to be team rebuild. You maybe want to be team tear it down, trade Devin Booker, start over. That's a fair position to take. But the Suns have a plan. They think that Devin Booker is good enough to lead a team on his own. They believe that this roster, with a couple of tweaks, freeing up some of the money, getting rid of Kevin Durant, getting some draft capital back, getting rid of Bradley Beal's money, waving, stretching it, opening up the aprons and all those tools for Brian Gregory to work over the next 2 years, they feel like they can build a contender pretty quickly. We'll see. I like Dillon Brooks. I think Dillon Brooks fits building a culture. I think Malawach is a great draft pick to build around. They've got young players like Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro that we all really enjoyed watching play last year. Again, I think a lot of people are discounting what Jalen Green can be for this team because he plays the same position as Devin Booker. He's still 23 years old. They drafted a young center and they traded for a young center. They've got two really dynamic players that can play in that spot for this team. They're young, they're athletic, they're going to be more gritty, they're going to be more tough. They're going to have a coach that's going to demand more out of them. And oh, by the way, we'll touch on this a little bit later on in the program, but they're trying to steal somebody that I think would make a great assistant coach for this team. And I'll be honest with everybody, I almost brought it up the moment they hired Jordan Ott as an option, but I didn't think he was going to be able to get out of the place that he's in right now. But there are two teams interested in bringing this guy in. We'll touch on that in hour number 2. So do I know for sure that the plan's going to work? I don't know that. I'm not sure it's going to work. But so far, do I like what I've seen? Yes, I like what I've seen more than I thought I was going to like what I've seen.
And there's no doubt that they have a plan. And I said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly how far ago the draft was now. But as soon as we came back after the draft, I said, I see their vision.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I may not agree with it, but for the first time, the pathway's cleared and I can see forward. And a month ago, it was touch and go there. You didn't know how far you could see, pretty foggy. that pathway's starting to clear up, and I can start to see the next couple steps.
I can see the roadway. I can see the road in front of me. Whether or not we get off on the right exit or not, we follow the GPS correctly, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I can at least see where I'm going now. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, he was just named the all-conference quarterback in the Big 12. How much pressure is on Sam Leavitt and the Arizona State Sun Devils? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Prepare for the Maximum Fun Tour. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. Saturday, October 25th. Special guests, The Wonder Years and Dinosaur Pile-Up. Tickets from $30. On sale now at livenation.com. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Part of the American First Credit Union Concert Series.
Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler here at Shane Company. Come on in, feel at home, and let's find your dream engagement ring. I'm proud to work for a company that puts customers first and lets them shop the way they want to. See, we believe shopping for an engagement ring should be fun without any of the pressure. We don't work on commission, so finding your dream ring is truly on your terms. We'll be right by your side as your friend and jeweler to help you find a ring more beautiful than you imagined and stick to your budget too. We have all of the styles and all of the smiles. You can even watch our in-house jewelers working their magic inside your neighborhood store. It's that kind of care and craftsmanship that makes Shane Company's free lifetime warranty the best in the business, saving you thousands over time and giving you peace of mind. No appointment necessary, or check us out at shaneco.com. Because a friend knows when you're ready, you're ready. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Every summer, across the valley, hundreds of our homeless neighbors die because of the heat. This is tragic, and it is preventable. None of us can stop the heat, but together we can save lives. With incredible partners like you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is able to provide life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Join us this summer and make a difference. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
America. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. By honoring your sacred vocation of business, you impact your family, your friends, and your community. At Grand Canyon University, our MBA degree program is 100% online, with emphases in business analytics and finance to help you reach your goals. Find your purpose at GCU. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. You can join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Michael over there says, I don't think the Suns will win a lot. Will take a year to gel. I think they win more games next year than they did this year.
Doesn't mean they win a lot.
I think they win more games than they did this year. Whatever you want to interpret that to mean, that's up to you. I'm just saying that I think that when we are at this point next year, they will have won more games than they did this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I think by the time it's all said and done, they'll have more depth.
They're going to be better coached. That's for one. They're going to have a coach that when things aren't working isn't going to be stubborn and is going to change things up. They're more athletic. They're more gritty. They're going to play better defense. I think that's going to keep them in more games. I worry a little bit about where their scoring is going to come from with no KD and with no Beal. Jalen Green and Devin Booker are going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting there. But do I think that they can play competitive basketball next season to where we actually enjoy what we're watching and they win more games than they did last year? Yes, I think so. It doesn't mean a whole lot, to your point, but I think it happens. You know what does mean a whole lot? What Arizona State did last year in the Big 12, almost winning a college football playoff game. And they did so well last year winning the Big 12 and going to the college football playoff that the Big 12 today announced that they are doing away with their preseason football media poll because last year's, as we've all committed to memory at this point, had ASU 16th in the Big 12 last year. And they went on to win the whole conference, win the conference championship, almost beat Texas in a college football playoff game. So they said, you know what? We feel like that hurt ASU last year that they were 16th in the preseason poll, so we're doing away with the poll altogether. Yesterday, the Big 12 released their all-conference preseason teams. The Big 12 all-conference preseason quarterback, Sam Leavitt of your Arizona State Sun Devils. And so that leads to the big burning question. How much pressure is on Sam Leavitt and the Arizona State Sun Devils? We jokingly have a phrase that we share on this program. Anytime we talk anything about the Sun Devils, we say, you better win.
That's it.
You
better win.
You have to win football games with all of the pomp and circumstance. We used that phrase earlier. The hype that is surrounding this team. I saw a clip from a Kenny Dillingham interview this morning. He was on because PHNX Sun Devils was there at Big 12 Media Day. And Kenny was asked, what's different this go around from last year? And he said, well, people think we're good now. Like there is an expectation now surrounding this team. There's an expectation around this quarterback. And I'm just going to use you, producer Evan, as an example. You constantly want to talk about Sam Leavitt in the Heisman conversation. You constantly want to talk about Sam Leavitt as a future first-round draft pick quarterback. Anytime a PFF list or draft list comes out and Sam Leavitt's ranked too low or too high, you just love to get it into buy or sell or the leftovers.
I do. I'm a Sam Leavitt fan.
You are no. I'm going to take it a step further. You are a Sam Leavitt stan.
100%. I think he moves well for a kid that got his first starts in college football last year.
So you're already doing it.
His pocket presence was unbelievable. He's a strong arm. He zips it to the far sideline. He can get it in there. He throws with touch well, especially late in the season.
All I said was that you're a Sam Leavitt stan. You went on Mel Kiper Jr. on me, and you're dropping in, he does this well, he does that well, like it's night one of the NFL draft. Relax, easy. I got it. I'm with you. We're on the same team here. I love Sam Leavitt just as much as you do. But your love affair with Sam Leavitt, the way you just spoke about Sam Leavitt is proving my point. There's a lot of pressure on this kid. There's a lot of pressure on this university and this program. Why? Because of how special last year was and how special last year felt. Because there have been moments, I don't know to the level of last year, but there have been moments and flashes. There certainly was under Herm. There certainly was under Todd Graham. I can just speak for the 12 plus years that I have been here. I was here with Todd Graham. I was here with Herm Edwards. I am now here with Kenny Dillingham. I have now seen 3 different head coaches oversee this football program. And there have been flashes during all 3 where they have looked like they were going to tap into everybody's least favorite phrase about Arizona State Sun Devil football, sleeping giant. Felt like Todd Graham was tapping into that. Felt like Herm was about to tap into that. Last year felt like Kenny Dillingham, more so than the other two guys, tapped into that. But what did we say when the season was over? What have we said all summer long? You got to back it up.
Let me ask you this question. And this is just personally how I feel. I wasn't here for the Todd Graham era. You were. But I was here for the Herm Edwards era. And just comparatively. And Herm, and I might get backlash for this, it was working. They got talent in the door, arguably more talent than they had ever had at that point. For the first time ever, it felt like they were more talented than pretty much everybody else in the Pac-12. And so a lot of that had to do with the style in which they recruited, the pro style. Herm was almost a little ahead of the game.
No, not a little. They were ahead of the game. Everybody laughed, a new leadership model, get on the train, the weirdness of Herm's first press conference, that kind of set the stage for how people felt about it. They were ahead. You've got teams all over the place now hiring GMs to run their football program. That is what ASU was doing. They were ahead of all of this. They just picked the wrong people, and they got themselves into trouble on the recruiting front.
But even during those good years, and there was years they went up to Utah, right? First in the Pac-12. You have to play Utah. You get your chance to play for a Pac-12 title game. And they had the lead at halftime in the third quarter. And they just never felt like they were going to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
This team's down 8. I'm still thinking they're in it. They're in it against Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because my mindset has flipped because I'm a Kenny believer and I believe more in the quarterback than ever, or it's because that he's created this whole different culture around the program.
I think it's probably a little bit of both, right? I think there was a moment of time when I first got to school here, when I was first couple of years, and there was the Taylor Kelly, Mike Bercovici era of Sun Devil football. And you just felt like that they had an answer at quarterback. You felt like they had a person that could be under center, that was confident, that was composed, that wasn't going to make always the silly mistake, right? You just felt good about where things are going. I don't think anybody has felt this good about who's under center, because I don't think, maybe other than Jaden Daniels.
But even Jaden.
He was not LSU Jaden.
He was not. And when he was here, like, you know, the throw that highlights Jaden Daniels' career as, you know, as Sun Devil is the Brandon Ayuk throw down the left sideline. He took a 12-yard sack on second and down right before that.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring this up. Leavitt being named the preseason all-conference quarterback, and the year that they had last year. I think this is the first time in the 12-plus years that I have been either at the university, covering the university, working with the university, whatever the case may be. This is really the first time where it feels like things are changing. I'm still on the fence. I'm still nervous because I've seen this before. I watched ASU, the first ever college football playoff ranking. They were 6th. I can remember where I was, where I saw it on the TV when they were put there in that spot, and then they went up to Oregon State the next weekend and laid an egg. I can remember all of that. So I can remember the good moments, and then I can also remember the dud that was laid afterwards. Last year was a good moment for ASU. I've been ingrained to expect the dud. They have to prove me wrong. Kenny, Sam, the whole roster has to prove me wrong. So, yeah, there's a ton of pressure. You don't think Kenny knows the history of this program? You don't think Kenny knows that everybody's kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop? You don't think Sam understands? Heisman Trophy, potential first-round quarterback. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of eyeballs on him to go out there and succeed. No Cam Scatteraboo anymore. This is his team, his program. A lot of pressure. Will they back it up? It's the $64,000 question. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, buy or sell. Producer Evan has the takes. I'm either buying or selling his takes. We'll do it next. It's the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center.
September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. 9 Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
Hey, it's Austin Clark, owner of Moxie Pest Control. You know, most pest control companies use the same products we do. That's not the difference. But what is the difference is how we treat people. At Moxie, kindness counts, and it shows in every visit, every conversation, and every one of the 6,500 plus 5-star Google reviews our customers have written. Our field experts aren't just trained to handle pests. They're trained to treat your home, your family, your pets, and your time with the kind of respect you deserve. And our services come with a pest-free guarantee. Our methods and service just work better because our people are better. So if you want a pest control company you can trust in and around your home, give us a call. We offer same-day services in most cases, and we'll even give you 50% off your first service when you call. Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KTUS AM 1060. Buy or sell to close up hour number 1 here of the program. The takes provided by producer Evan, and I have to either buy or sell. I did a lot of selling yesterday.
No, 3, 1, and a hold. 3 buys, 1 sell, and a hold.
Oh yeah,
we'll get to tomorrow.
Yeah, we didn't put things on layaway. We just said, could you put the item on hold for me? I remember this about Merrill Kelly, right?
Yes. So we've put in that one on hold. We'll get back to that tomorrow. Not going to touch on it today.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
No. I mean, don't ask a question if you don't want me to have a stupid answer. I mean, yes, I'm ready, of course.
Okay. All right. Corbin Carroll has a real chance at a 20 triple 30 home run season. Only 3 players have done that in the history of baseball.
Only 3 players have had 30-plus home runs and 20-plus triples. Now, this is where you're going to tell me where he currently sits with home runs and triples so that I can try to figure out with how many games left. Now, he missed some time, but he's back earlier than I think we all anticipated.
He did.
So that opens the door a little bit here.
So he has 20 homers.
So we need 10 more homers.
And he needs 10 more triples. Got his 3rd triple last night, which leads Major League Baseball.
And the triples are going to be the harder part here.
Yeah, needs another 10.
Any other year, the home runs would be the hard part. But he's having a bit of a power surge this year. Sell.
It's a tough thing to do. The last one was in 2007. Jimmy Rollins did it, but before that, it wasn't until Willie Mays.
So this would be some elite company to be joining.
Elite company.
If you're Corbin Carroll, to have 20-plus triples, 30-plus home runs in a season.
All 3 players that have done it have won the MVP of their respective league.
The year that they did it, they won the MVP?
Yeah.
How about this? If he does it, he will not be the MVP.
No, he won't, just because the average isn't high enough.
So he will be the outlier to that statistic.
He will.
If he does it.
Interesting. Alec Thomas will be the center fielder of the future for the D-backs. Last night he made a great play in center. I think he's been playing some good baseball this year.
Alec Thomas, future center. What are we defining as future? Meaning
He's 25 right now.
Yeah.
Let's say he'll be the starting center fielder till he's 29.
So for the next 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Opening day, barring injury.
He's a center fielder.
Alec Thomas is your opening day center fielder?
Yeah.
Sell.
Okay.
They've got some outfield prospects coming up, right? Drew Jones is a candidate. They could always slide Corbin over if they want to reconfigure their outfield setup. I'll take the field on the next 4 seasons being Alec Thomas as the opening day center fielder. Made a great play last night.
He did.
What an excellent play that was.
Yeah.
It's a tough ballpark.
He's an interesting case because sometimes the routine balls, you're like, come on, Alec.
Yeah,
it's a misread.
Yeah.
And then he gets the things, you're like, man, I thought he had no shot at that.
Yeah, it almost makes you want to pull your hair out when the routine stuff is an adventure.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that the ball gets hit, you're like, all right, that's in the gap. And then he just somehow goes and makes the play like the one he did last night, sliding up against the wall out there in right center field
to
make that play. Just really incredible stuff. Defensively, yeah, it's just a question about the bat. And I think with the way the prospects are set up, I'll just take the field.
The national media would have more faith in the Suns offseason if it wasn't run by Brian Gregory and Matt Ishbia.
Oh, I'll buy this. Yeah. I think there's some baked in skepticism of a first-time GM. And I just think a lot of people are taking a victory lap on Matt Ishbia because he spent all that money and it got him 1 playoff series win. So there are some people that are happy that the new owner came in, spent all that money, and got humbled very quickly. So, yeah.
First-time GM, too. All that stuff doesn't help. I think if it was just a bigger name, had they hired a guy who has done it before, I truly believe there would be less skepticism. All right, this is an interesting one. Building off of our conversation last segment, there's more pressure on Sam Leavitt than Kyler Murray this upcoming season.
Wow, this is good. We may need to table this and have this as a full-blown conversation. Which Valley quarterback is under more pressure next season? Do I have to answer? I kind of want to save this.
We can save it.
I kind of want to dive into this a little bit later on in the week. This is really good.
We'll put this on hold again?
Yeah, put this one on hold, and we're gonna super tease for tomorrow. We'll do that on tomorrow's program.
That's an interesting conversation.
Which Valley quarterback is under more pressure next season, Kyler Murray or Sam Leavitt? That's a really good conversation. I put that one on layaway.
Okay.
I'll put a deposit down on that one.
Okay. This season is Big 12 championship appearance or bust for the Arizona State Sun Devils?
Sal, I don't think it's that. I don't think the expectations need to be that high. That's a little unfair. I think we've set a pretty high but fair bar for this team on the show. We've said, hey, you can't win 7 or 8 games and make the
Fiesta, or not the Fiesta Bowl, the Sun Bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl. They don't do that anymore. The Bahamas Bowl. Like, we got to do better than that. The expectations are we're playing on New Year's Day.
Unless they're in the Pop-Tart Bowl, then it's all worth it. I would love a good polo with the Pop-Tart Bowl.
So you've got to win 9 or 10 games, I think, at a minimum.
I think the number's 10.
Yeah.
I think 10 probably gets them in.
To the Big 12 championship?
Yeah.
Probably. And then I think you can say you backed it up. You won it last year, defending champs. You went back again. And I think that would be proof that what Kenny is doing here has some runway and can be sustainable.
Yeah, you're on the right path.
On the right path, yes.
Okay. So put another one on hold or lay away. We did only one buy today. One buy today. That brings us at 4-4 on the week and even, as well as 2 holds. We'll get to Merrill Kelly's tomorrow, as well as we will do the Sam Leavitt, Kyler Murray conversation in tomorrow's show.
Yeah, that was really good. I had no idea that was one of the.
I came over to you at Pinball and said, I have my favorite buy or sell I've ever written today.
It was that one. Well, not only was it your favorite buy or sell, but so it's a full-blown segment. So hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, the last 2 starts for Zac Gallen, they've been excellent. A change of plans or just driving up the price? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
At 365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025, live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 7th. With special guest, Amble. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit hosier.com.
In Las Vegas, live music doesn't just start, it hits different. The biggest names in music will be taking the stage. Beyonce, Pitbull, Nas with the Las Vegas Philharmonic, Motley Crue, Gym Class Heroes, Kelly Clarkson, Janet Jackson, Lynyrd Skynyrd, live in Vegas. Go to visitlasvegas.com to see the full summer lineup.
What we love about our ability to help patients at QC Kinetics is seeing their pure delight at finally being able to do the things they enjoy without pain.
I had a patient start treatment with me. He wanted to be able to be active again and do some of his sports that he really enjoyed.
Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics, treats patients with chronic joint pain using their body's own biologics. The goal? Get them back to living their best lives without surgery or harmful drugs.
He came back and he goes, what I wasn't expecting was the ability to play on the floor with my grandchildren. Even just saying it now, I have goosebumps because it's changing those small moments that you take for granted.
Don't let joint pain rob you of those moments. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It just warms my heart to be able to help people live the life they want to live and get those small moments back.
Call QC Kinetics, 602-691-6641. That's 602-691-6641. 602-691-6641.
If you know, you go. At Superstar Car Wash, we're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text SuperAZ to 27800 to get a free Super Protect car wash. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Hour number 2. The lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Cheap plug, download the KDUS AM 1060 app. Your way to take us with you on the go. Don't have to be in your car. Don't have to be sitting in front of your computer. You're working out. You want to take the station with you. KDUS AM 1060 right there on your phone, both on Apple and Android in the App Store. Just search KDUS AM 1060. Download the app today. Zac Gallen, great again last night. Last 2 starts have been excellent. 13 innings over his last 2 starts, 1 earned run allowed. And let's be honest, that's not surprising. 13 innings, 1 run allowed from Zac Gallen. That's what you think he can be. That's what makes all of the other starts so frustrating. And if producer Evan is a Sam Leavitt stan, then I am the biggest Zac Gallen stan there is. When this guy got traded here, I said, that's the future ace of this team. That's somebody that's going to win some Cy Youngs. That's a guy that's going to be a frontline starter. That's somebody that you're going to be able to build your rotation around, and you're going to be able to build a winner around. So there's nobody that gets more frustrated when Zac Gallen is struggling more than me, because you know that it's in there. You know that what we've seen over the last 2 starts, he could do every single night out. You know that what we saw in one of his first starts of the season against the New York Yankees on the road, where he struck out double-digit Yankees, can be the norm, even though his fastball velocity has gone down over the years, Even though that fastball isn't playing the way that it should be a lot better than giving up 5-6 runs. He should be a lot better than being taken out of a start in the 5th or 6th inning. He should be constantly taking the ball into the 7th, constantly allowing 1-2 runs or fewer, being that dominant Cy Young candidate. So what we've seen over the last 2 starts should not be surprising in the slightest. It actually makes it more frustrating when you see the bad Zac Gallen starts, because look at the 2 opponents that he just did this against. He didn't do this against the Marlins and the White Sox. He didn't do this against 2 bad teams with bad lineups. His last 2 starts came against the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants. Now, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but 2 good baseball teams, no? Giants, Padres, good baseball teams.
Some good teams.
Good teams. 1 earned run allowed in 2 games against 2 really good teams. And so that begs the question. These last 2 starts, has it changed how we should feel about what the Diamondbacks do with Zac Gallen and his future? Or, as I said in hour number 1, with how I have changed watching the Arizona Diamondbacks, is this just him getting hot at the right time to drive up that trade value come July 31st? I don't see a future for Zac Gallen here in Arizona. I thought his career in Arizona had an expiration date of this past winter. I thought after the team signed Corbin Burnes to that big contract, that was going to open up a pathway for them to move Zac Gallen. I thought one of the big things they did last offseason was going to be moving Zac Gallen. Free agent at the end of the year, Scott Boras client, never saw a path for a contract extension with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Certainly didn't feel like that was in the cards after they gave $200 million to Corbin Burnes. Did not feel like they were going to pay 2 starters 6 figures. Sorry, 9 figures. I did not expect Zac Gallen and Corbin Burnes both to be making $100 plus, $150 plus million on the same team, and that team being the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I have always thought that this was the end of the road for Zac Gallen. It does not feel like, even if he finishes on a hot streak, even if he finishes looking like a Cy Young candidate, looking like the guy that we all know that he can be, I don't think it really changes what the Diamondbacks' future plans with Zac Gallen are. He is going to command big dollars because he is a starting pitcher and because who his agent is, and you know there are teams out there that are going to be willing to pay that kind of money to go out and get a starter, especially if Gallen ends the year on a good note, and it's just not going to come at a price tag where the Diamondbacks are going to be interested in doubling down on their rotation for next season. Especially when you're paying Corbin Burnes all that money to not pitch for you next season. Now, if the Diamondbacks choose to hold on to Zac Gallen through the rest of the year, they can offer him the qualifying offer and make sure they get a draft pick back if he chooses to go someplace else. I still think they would get more if they chose to trade him here at the deadline. Desperation fuels action. And that desperation of a team trying to get that one missing piece to put them over the top. And Zac Gallen could be that thing that completes a team's rotation, could be that piece that puts them over the top. And I think you would get more than just a compensatory draft pick value if you moved Zac Gallen. So these last 2 starts, while they've been great, while they've been an example of how good Zac Gallen can be, everything remains the same in my mind. You should trade Zac Gallen if the right deal materializes. If a deal materializes that is more value-wise than a compensatory pick in the draft next year, then you should make that move. And yeah, the post-trade deadline debrief on Zac Gallen's tenure is going to be one of missed chances, one of a missed opportunity, one of him never really truly reaching his potential here in Arizona. That will be the conversation that we have, because he should have a Cy Young. That's how talented he is. He should have more than just the one major playoff run under his belt. That's how good he is, or he can be. The Diamondbacks have to do right by their future. The Diamondbacks have to do right by the 2026 and 2027 versions. And normally, when you're balancing short and long term, you don't want to cut off at the knees the short term while looking at the long term. What's there to cut off at this point? This team has suffered injury after injury, meltdown after meltdown, tough loss after tough loss, bad series after bad series, and they sit right now as a 500 club. You're not cutting anything off at the knees if you chose. If right now Mike Hazen had a press conference and made the surprising news to just announce to the world, we are sellers at the deadline, would you be up in arms? Would you be upset? Would you be angry? Would you be frustrated? Would you say that it is the wrong decision to be a seller at the deadline? Or would you say, no, you know what? That's the right move. You know what? This team just hasn't been as good as we thought they were going to be. So this is thinking with a clear head, thinking long-term and making the right decision for the health and future of this franchise. I don't think we would get phone calls saying that Mike Hazen made the wrong decision if he made that announcement today. No, he's not going to make that announcement. That would put him in a really bad spot leverage-wise in terms of making these trades. But nobody would be up in arms if that's what Mike Hazen and the Arizona Diamondbacks decided to do.
I think we all believe, unless they get extremely hot over the next week headed into the All-Star break and the week coming out, that this team needs to be a seller. The opportunity they're going to have to build their club for the next few years is greater this year than it probably has ever been in franchise history.
I don't think there is I'd have to do a little bit more research, but just thinking back on trade deadlines, I can't remember a time where one team could dominate the deadline the way the Diamondbacks could.
I can't either. I really can't. I mean, it feels unheard of for a team to have 5 key pieces to what should have been a playoff team this year, all on 1-year deals that are all going to be moved. If they go that route, but all have chances to be moved. I don't know a team that has had an opportunity to possibly add 10, 11, 12 prospects?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you need somebody to go through the door first to really, truly understand what the market is going to be here at the deadline. It's all hypothetical right now until we see. The Devers trade happened too early. It's a unique situation. Devers is a unique talent. It just, I can't compare anything to that trade. But you just got to see what the first move is. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a world where this team lands 3 or 4 ready to go big league prospects, like players that could play right away or are very close to playing right away, like could be called up in the middle of August and get run for the final month and a half of the season and then be a contributor in 2026. And that could be as a reliever, that could be as a starter, that could be a position player, could be all over the place. Team's going to need a first baseman if they choose to trade Josh Naylor. They might need a third baseman. I don't know what's happening with Jordan Lawler, so they could need an infielder. They could use an outfielder. They need a DH maybe. Depends on what you're going to do with Pavin Smith. All sorts of different moving parts to this. Could get a starter back who's ready to go, ready to participate at the big league level. Could get that person 4 or 5 starts over the last 2 months of the season and get a jump on 2026. While maybe also getting some lottery tickets for 2029, 2030, 2031, so on.
And I know what everybody's thinking is being sellers doesn't make this team exciting. Seeing young players and, if it is going to be Lawler every day, a third down the stretch, and you are going to get young pitchers to get starts, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, if you
in a very different way.
Sure.
But it'll be fun to watch.
Sure. And if there's a sort of somber tone to us talking about Diamondbacks baseball right now, Fangraphs has their playoff odds at 21% right now. It's 9th best in the National League. 7 teams make the playoffs.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay. Give me the big 4.
Okay. The Dodgers have a 99.6% chance of making the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. The Chicago Cubs have a 95% chance of making the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. The Phillies, the last team in the 90s, at 94.5%. Then you have the Mets in 4th at 86.6%. Then this is where the big drop-off happens. Milwaukee is 5th at 65.3%. And then at 6 is San Francisco at 50.7%. San Diego is 7th at 39.9%. St. Louis is 8th at 31.4%. Then the Diamondbacks are 9th at 21%.
It's not over.
No, but it's less than a 1 in 4 chance.
Yeah.
Less than a 1 in 4 chance. And oh, by the way, Cincinnati's in front of them in the standings, correct?
By a game.
Cincinnati's behind them in the playoff odds. Cincinnati's at 9.9% in 10th.
That makes sense.
Well, it's schedule and who you're going to play and all that stuff kind of factors in.
I think listen, I think that this team will end up, unless they, have a massive sell. By the time they get to the deadline, they may be ahead of the Reds. I don't think it changes how you treat the deadline. You may be a game in front of the Cincinnati Reds, but I don't think it should change how you approach a trade deadline.
Over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream, Brian from Chandler says, I can't believe our fearless leader is in favor of waving the white flag. We just need to reshuffle the bullpen and get healthy starters back.
Well, Brian, it's going to take a Herculean effort.
Yeah, he already got you with that earlier. I didn't read that comment. He got you with that a little earlier on in the program. While that's true, well, yeah, just have a bullpen that's reshuffled and doing well. Where are you getting the arms from? They're out of options, Brian. They're out of options. Get healthy starters back. Wait, Corbin Burns isn't coming back this season. Not happening. What reinforcements are they getting to their rotation? Because to do that, you have to be a buyer. You can't be a buyer 4.5 games out, 4 teams in front of you, a game below 500. That's organizational malpractice. You can't do that. You can't look at the way this team is currently playing through 90 games and saying, you know what, that team needs to be a buyer at the deadline.
Look at some of the mistakes people have made being an aggressive buyer. And, I hate to, it's going to sound like a troll. It's not going to be. But your Mets, don't make the big move for Javi Baez. Don't end up making it. Cubs are sitting here with Picaro Armstrong, who you can't. It's tough when you have to make that big push to sit there and say, I want to be a buyer. And, what are you going to get? A guy on a 1-year deal and give up a prospect for a team that you're already fighting an uphill battle?
Let's look at this realistically. We all agree 2026 is going to be a tough bargain for this baseball team. No Corbin Burns. Gallen and Kelly are free agents. Naylor's a free agent. Suarez is gone. Lawler might be playing third base. You can have some young kids involved. 2026 isn't set up well, right? So if you're going to do this, you're going all in for 1 year. You're pushing all the chips in the middle because Brian followed up and say, finally get an owner spending some money, and you want to turn us back into a AAA team with a bunch of prospects. I don't want to do this. I said this team could win the division. I said this team could win a championship. I said this team had the best rotation in baseball. I didn't want any of this to happen, Brian. I did not think we would be having this conversation, but you have to be a realist, because if you want to push all the chips in the middle right now, you're saying that I want to go all in on a team that is below 500 because your 2026 isn't going to be a good year for this team. If they choose to go all in and give it one final hurrah, one good run, then 2026 is not going to be a good year for this franchise. Whereas instead, you can take your lumps. We tried it. We spent a lot of money. 2024, we missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker. 2025, we had way too many injuries. Let's scale it back. Let's reprioritize. And let's make sure that 2026, 27, 28, we can still be relevant. We can still be competitive. Shed some of the salary. Set yourself up well. Get some prospects. And not wave the white flag on 2026, but set yourself up to where you can try to be better in 2026. You can set up to be able to weather the storm of not having Zac Gallen and Merrill Kelly potentially. Definitely not having Corbin Burns. Definitely not having AJ Puck and Justin Martinez, right? You can weather that storm better. Whereas if you go all in, you're saying, who cares about 2026? I'll worry about 2026 when the calendar turns over and it is 2026. And I'm sorry, I can't do that for a team that's playing the way that they're playing right now. A team that 90-plus games into the season is below 500. A team that is looking up at all of these teams in the standings that are playing better baseball than them. I have to look at the big picture. I would look at the small picture. If this team was playing the way the Cubs are playing, the Phillies are playing, the Mets are playing, the Dodgers are playing, you betcha. 2026, who gives a rip? Who cares? We got a team right now that can try to win a championship.
And we held on. I feel like, especially I did. And I was quick to say, oh, gosh, I'm nervous about this team.
You wanted to fire the manager like 6 weeks into the season, to be fair.
Okay. Yeah, I stand by that.
Just saying.
And listen, I think there's been days where he's been great. But do you think that things would have gotten better?
No.
Okay. Do you think they would have gotten worse?
Potentially. I'm not sure. I'm not
but
sure
you would know if you were a buyer or a seller.
You would know. Yeah. You would hate to be. And I said this is the worst place to be as a franchise in this trade deadline purgatory of not knowing what to do. But I think it's clear what they need to do. They're not ever getting the engine started enough to take off on the racetrack. Like we're stuck. We're stuck in neutral over and over and over again. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, how good is the Cardinals' skill position group? And is it going to be a strength for them in 2025? That's next. Lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
Phoenix, are you ready to ascend? Bring Me the Horizon, USA Ascension Program, Part 1.
Every sky will build my friend.
Taking over Footprint Center, October 2nd, with special guest
Crawling from hell.
Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira El Fiki. On sale now at livenation.com. Bring Me the Horizon, presented by the Big Red Radio.
Your neighborhood Fry's Pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at frysfood.com/payer update. See your Fry's Pharmacy for details.
If you don't have gas in your home, but something doesn't smell good. Ew, what's that smell? If it smells like rotten eggs, there could be a leak in your neighborhood. Now what do I do? If you suspect a leak, move fast, call 911 and Southwest Gas.
From a safe location.
But I don't have natural gas in my home. Gas lines are buried all around, so even if you don't have gas. I know, call 911 and Southwest Gas.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. In an offseason dominated by blockbuster trades and a superstar movement, one of the most intriguing under-the-radar deals may belong to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs quietly shipped Isaac Okoro to Chicago in exchange for Lonzo Ball, a move that could quietly pay big dividends in the East. Let's be clear, Ball's health is a massive question mark. He's played 35 games since 2023. When healthy, he brings a skill set few guards in the league can match. Floor spacing point guard, shoots over 37% from three, a willing defender, and he sees the floor like a quarterback. For a team like Cleveland, already equipped with scoring in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, Ball doesn't need to be a star. He just has to be solid. And with Garland coming off toe surgery, he'll be great. A great addition. It's a wide open Eastern Conference. It's the kind of a small move that if it pans out, it could have a big impact. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Pickleball is the fastest growing court sport in the world, and no one makes playing pickleball safer, more comfortable, and quicker on your feet than Tyrell. Tyrell is the first purpose-built shoe made specifically for playing pickleball. Tyrell shoes are made with the famous Vibram outsole. Remember, Tyrol. If you want to elevate your game, you want to play longer, more comfortably, go to TyrellPickleball.com and experience how Tyrell can help your game while making you look like a real pro. There's nothing like King's Hawaiian sliders and summer grilling season. They go together. You got King's Hawaiian soft, fluffy, irresistible rolls, slider buns, so versatile, perfect for any slider. No matter if you're looking to grill chicken or beef or pork, seafood, anything you can think of, you're going to put it on the grill, you can put it on a King's Hawaiian slider bun. Kick off summer grilling season. Pick up a pack of those irresistible King's Hawaiian rolls in the bakery or deli section of your local grocery store. There's nothing like it.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. How good is the Arizona Cardinals skill position group? Yesterday, we brought you the ranking that ESPN did of the running backs and how James Conner was listed as the last honorable mention. Well, today, Bill Barnwell over on ESPN ranked the wide receiver, tight end, and running back groups for the 2025 NFL teams. Producer Evan, did you see this story? I know that I posted it on our show prep doc, but did you happen to click on it and look at it?
Yes.
Okay, so we
read through it, found the Cardinals.
All right, so we can't play the game of try to guess where the Cardinals were. I wasn't sure if that you had seen this, but the Cardinals, middle of the road at spot number 15. And at first, you may be thinking, that's not really that great. It's around top half, yes, but barely in the top half. Barely better than the midway point. But then you look at last year, they were ranked 21st in this exercise. In 2023, they were ranked 30th in this exercise. And you are seeing the fruits of the labor of Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon in this organization to rebuild this group. They've gotten better year over year over year. And the big question mark, hope everyone's sitting down for this one. The thing that's holding this group back from being higher than 15th, Marvin Harrison Jr. and the quote-unquote struggles that he had last year. But Bill had a really interesting point in this story. Quote, Cardinals fans will remember what Larry Fitzgerald did in year 2 after a 780-yard rookie campaign. 103 catches, 1,409 yards, and 10 touchdowns. And that's certainly in Harrison's range of outcomes. But even the best prospects don't always translate into immediate superstars, end quote. This is the most important question about this offense. They chose to not add a number 2 wide receiver. Partly the reason why they're only 15th. The depth of the wide receiver room is mentioned here quite a bit. The drop off to Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch and Trey Benson. So they didn't get a wide receiver 2. They continued to double down and said, no, Marv's our guy. 800 plus yards last year. Yeah, it was an inconsistent up and down seesaw year. Wasn't able to constantly stack together those great performances. But you know what? Took him 4th overall, the first non-quarterback taken in that draft. We believe he's a franchise wide receiver. We're not changing anything. That's our wide receiver 1, and we're looking for him to have a Larry Fitzgerald-esque year 2. 103 catches, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. Looking for him to cross over 1,000 yards, get into the end zone more, be that volume guy that they want him to be. All of this rests on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s shoulders. All of it. Without it, they could fall further down this list. With it, you have a group that's way higher than 15th because they'd have an elite number 1. They'd have one of the worst case scenario, top 5 tight ends in the league. And they'd have, in my opinion, a top 10 running back that's criminally underrated by the rest of the league. It's a pretty good trio.
I think if they were to add wide receiver depth, this team could have been 11th, 12th on that list. There's definitely a few that they would have passed over. And I think, do I look at the room and say they lack depth? Yes. Do I think they have a high ceiling? Also, yes. Listen, you and I both say it. He wasn't that bad last year. And the offense lacked creativity, I thought. They leaned heavily on the run game, which I think they will do again this year. But if they want to break that barrier and move into the playoffs, they're going to have to lean less heavily on the run game. And they're going to have to throw the ball when needed. And you would assume Marvin Harrison's going to be those guys in those situations. And you have a year of NFL experience under your belt. You know the speed the league plays at. He talked about that early. This, from the jump, like, okay, here's the speed of what the National Football League is. Now he has a better feel for that. He gets a full offseason.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are factors to why Larry Fitzgerald broke out in year 2. It's a factor to why I think Marv will be a better player this year. In buy or sell a couple weeks ago, I had his over at, I think it was 927 and a half.
Took the over. I bought.
And I took the over. I don't see a world really where he is less than 1,000 yards unless the offense comes out extremely flat.
Well, and that's where I think 2 things can be true. Can Marvin Harrison Jr. be better? Were some of the quote-unquote failings of last year on him as a player? Absolutely. As a route runner, I don't think he was very good at the way we anticipated him to be. But there also are some of the reasons for his struggles that fall onto your point, the creativity of the offense, the design, getting him open. And that needs to be better as well. And I think if you get a little of column A and a little of column B, he had 800 plus yards with both of those things working against him. If those things are either working for him or at least not working against him to the extreme that they were in his rookie season, 1,000 yards should be a cakewalk.
Feels like the sky's the limit if they can continue to grow this offense. And do I think there's pressure on Marvin Harrison? Certainly. Do I think that he's even in the top 3 of that side of the ball? Probably not. I think more pressure falls on the quarterback. If we're counting the offensive coordinator, I would sit here and argue he has the most pressure on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have a more creative, multi-dimensional offense. I know they want to run the ball. I know it's who they are as a team, and I know
they're effective at it.
Yeah, they've got to throw the ball more. They have to be more effective passing the ball. And again, a more effective Marvin Harrison Jr. should, in theory, help with that. Right? That should maybe put Drew Petzing in a position to say, you know what? I can throw the ball more.
But Chris, was there a play last year, and I just can't think of one off the top of my head, and maybe that's to the point where you're like, hey, what a job getting Marv involved there.
No, it was almost a constant criticism of, you drafted this kid 4th overall, and we're not doing enough to scheme him open. We're not doing enough to get him more involved quickly. I mean, we brought the statistic up week after week after week during football season. I know you weren't here, and you'll get to enjoy all of the football season shenanigans that we get into when the season starts. But we said, hey, get the ball target-wise to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. Good things happen to you as a football team. When those are the 2 guys that are getting the ball a lot, you win. And maybe it's causation, correlation, maybe it's one of those things, but it's Obvious. They're your two most skilled players on offense. Get them the ball. Good things seem to happen, and you win football games that way.
In any particular order, last year when Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. led the team in catches, they won the football game.
When they were 1-2,
in either or,
they were very successful winning the football game. Yes. I think there was one game late in the year where that streak got snapped, if I'm remembering the end of the year correctly. But most of the year, when those two were first and second in targets and receptions, good things happened to the Arizona Cardinals.
And I know it's easy to say, well, Jefferson was great his rookie year. Neighbors was great. Chase has been awesome. Brian Thomas Jr., awesome. Watch those teams run their offense. Watch those teams get those guys involved so early. They flipped out so many screens to Jamar Chase early in the game.
Yeah.
Get him involved. Get the ball in the best player.
And that's an offense that likes to throw the ball. That's not an offense that loves to run the ball. So there's going to be more volume and more opportunity there. Same thing with Dable, right? Dable likes to throw the ball. Dable likes to have a more wide offense that is more multidimensional, right? Has both phases working for them. You just have to be more creative. And maybe it's Petzing not trusting to put more on Marv's plate or Kyler's plate, and there was just kind of the working through that. Hopefully, in year 2, it's a little different, because it has to be, or else I think we're going to come in here and we're going to have a lot of the same conversations of, you're not getting Marv involved, your offense looks sluggish, you're leaning on the run game, and let's face it, you can be a run-first, defensive-minded team. You get punched in the mouth, you're down 10-0, you're down 14-3. You've got to throw your way back into these games. You cannot just continue to sit back and run the football and let the clock drain down and miss opportunities and miss field goals and not convert red zone opportunities into touchdowns. You're just going to lose games that way. So they have to be multifaceted. They have to have both their passing and running game working. And if Marv lives up to his ceiling, if he plays to what he was as the 4th overall pick, then they're better than the 15th overall skill position group in the NFL. Way better. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, are the Phoenix Suns about to add a major name to their coaching staff? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Every summer, across the valley, hundreds of our homeless neighbors die because of the heat. This is tragic, and it is preventable. None of us can stop the heat, but together we can save lives. With incredible partners like you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is able to provide life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Join us this summer and make a difference. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, August 2nd. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com.
It's about to get heavy.
Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit Shinedown.com.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
It's time to talk Grizzly.
The air conditioner made specifically for Arizona summers.
Alaskan AC introduced the Grizzly a couple years ago, and the reviews are pouring in.
This one says, I love how quiet it is. I can hardly hear it come on, but I'm always comfortable.
Another person writes, finally an air conditioner that can withstand the desert heat and dust.
This one says, I like its fluffy fur and cute black nose.
Anyway, if it's time to upgrade your AC, you can't do better than the Grizzly.
Only available at Alaskan AC.
People love it.
Like this person who said, we live in an older home and the Grizzly keeps us comfortable in every room.
Or this guy. We live just outside of town and the dust is horrible. Glad we have an AC that can take it.
Or this one. He's so cuddly and has these adorable pads on his paws.
Gary, I think you're on a different webpage.
Gary, I think you're different.
Learn more about the Grizzly at alaskanac.com.
The garage door springs that come standard with most homes don't last. And when they fail, it's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello at A1 Garage Door Service. Our springs are the toughest in the industry, backed by our lifetime warranty. That's right. Fix them once and you're covered for life. Don't risk your family's safety or your peace of mind. Let A1 replace your springs before they become a problem. From repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one.
A1 from day one.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
One of the most important things for a young head coach or a first-time head coach, no matter the sport, is the staff that you put together. The experience that you put alongside you to help guide you through the rough patches, the tough times, those things that will pop up over the course of your first or second year as a head coach. And it's a new experience for you sitting in that chair. You might have seen a certain scenario as an assistant, and you might have said in the back of your mind, oh, that's how I would have handled this. I would have done this. But then when you're in the moment and you have that relationship with a player or with another coach or with somebody in the front office, it's different. The dynamic is different. So it's nice to have a sort of council, if you will, a board of directors, perhaps, a council of advisors that you can turn to. And so for Jordan Ott, as a first-time head coach, it is very, very, very important in my mind to hire an experienced person to sit alongside him on that bench. It is my rule of thumb in the NFL when it comes to hiring a coordinator and putting them as a head coach. Think I've said this before, but I'll repeat it for those who maybe haven't heard it in the past. You hire an offensive coordinator as your next head coach. I want a former head coach, defensive coordinator on my staff so that I have not only the other side of the ball covered, but I also have somebody who had been there and done that. And I use this example all the time. I think one of the things that made Sean McVay so successful early on in his career as an NFL head coach is he hired Wade Phillips to be his defensive coordinator. And you know what he said? Wade, defense is all yours. I'm going to work on coaching this team. I'm going to work on our offense, but defense is all yours. I trust you. I'm not going to worry about it. I know you're my guy. And then not only did he not have to worry about the side of the ball where he was inexperienced in, but now he also had somebody who had been an NFL coach, who had been an NFL head coach for years to pick his brain, to have his ear every single day. That advice was right there. Free advice. Every single day. If you hire a defensive coordinator as your head coach in the NFL, you bet you I want an offensive coordinator who maybe has some experience as a head coach in the NFL. I want people on my staff that I can turn to as advisors because they have been in these spots, they have been in these situations, and they are going to help me figure out how to deal with these situations. So when I saw the news over the weekend that the Suns and the Knicks are two teams that are attempting to try to hire Darvin Ham away from the Milwaukee Bucks, currently an assistant for Doc Rivers, was music to my ears because that is exactly what Jordan Ott needs alongside him on the bench. A former head coach who had a great relationship with his players when he was in charge there in LA with the Lakers, and somebody who has worked on multiple staffs, who has seen everything, done everything, and can be that perfect set of eyes and ears for Jordan Ott. Now, I don't know if they're going to get him because he's an assistant over there in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to make the argument, this is not a promotion. This is not him becoming a head coach, so we can block this. So unless Darvin Ham really makes a stink about this and says, I don't really want to be here, maybe then Milwaukee lets him go. But other than that, they're going to probably try to play hardball. Looks like the Knicks, who hired Mike Brown as their next head coach, are trying to get Darvin Ham on their staff. But I love this methodology. I love this process. I love trying to prioritize somebody who has that head coaching experience, who has been there, done that, sitting alongside Jordan Ott in his first year. Because there are things that are going to pop up for Jordan Ott that he wasn't anticipating. He can be the most prepared person in the room. He could have been waiting for this opportunity his whole life. Something is going to happen over the course of this year that he's not prepared for. Not because he's not good at his job, not because he's not a good coach, but just because that's part of being in sports. That's part of being in life. You can think you're the most prepared for everything. Something is going to smack you right in the face. It's going to pop up right in front of you, and you don't know how to deal with it. Maybe you turn to a family member, you turn to a friend, you look for advice. Well, in the case of being a basketball head coach or being a baseball manager or a football head coach, you want to have somebody there on your staff that you can pull into your office and say, I don't know what to do. Help me. What would you do? What did you do when something like this came up? And then you take that information and you use it to make an informed decision. It also helps that Darvin Ham, defensive-minded guy, so could help with the defensive intensity that this team is trying to have next season, trying to get better on the defensive side with their intensity, with their physicality. Darvin Ham would help in a lot of ways with that. So I'd love this. This would be great. I don't know if it'll happen, if Milwaukee will play hardball, but I love seeing that the Suns are interested in things like this. I love seeing that this is who Jordan Ott. He has a connection with Darvin Ham, and so he is leaning into that connection. Going with people that he trusts, going with people that he knows that are going to help him be successful. So keep an eye on this. First real major name that we've heard floated out there about Jordan Ott's coaching staff. But again, in an offseason where we've liked a lot of the process stuff so far, this is another example of, I like Jordan Ott's process here to find somebody to be an assistant for him on his staff.
Yeah. And I think that this is another thing that you check off that maybe shows they have a plan, right? And we talked about the plan earlier, but it trickles down, right? From the owner had the plan. Now Brian Gregory has talked about it. And, you know, I say it's trickling down, and I'm sure that sounds like.
Oh, my board wasn't working. Hold on.
The alignment.
Yeah. Oh, that was Brian Gregory in stereo. I don't know if we need that.
The alignment.
I don't know if we need that.
But, you know, they seem to have a plan. They put together a great search to bring in Jordan Ott, and part of that was the belief that he was going to build a great staff here.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is the first step, man, I'm excited about where the rest could go.
Yeah, again, Milwaukee has to be okay with it. They're going to try to play hardball. It's not a lock. It's not set in stone that it's going to happen. But I just like that this is the way that they're thinking. I like that Jordan Ott understands, hey, let me get somebody in here who's been there and done that. And if not Darvin Ham, it could be somebody else who has that experience. 480-864-1060. Last call for phone calls when we come back. We've also got the leftovers all coming up next. It's the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, heart-pounding excitement. Nitro Circus is back. The all-new off-the-rails tour. Gravity-defying thrill seekers and world-class daredevils at the top of their game. FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and everything in between. Experience all new competitions that pit the best against the best in never-been-done showdowns. Nitro Circus. Friday, December 5th. Desert Diamond Arena. Join the action at Ticketmaster.com.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Get excited to join the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. Because it's not a celebration without you. With all the decor, the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show. The returning favorite, Paint the Night Parade, and so much more, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16 through August 14, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Hey, make sure you download the KDUS AM 1060 app and take us with you on the go, wherever you get your apps. Before we get out of here, hand things off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. We've got the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. They are brought to us by the producer of the show, producer Evan. Take it away, my friend.
The Knicks have gotten their guy. They hire head coach Mike Brown. He is having his introductory press conference as we speak, or probably just wrapping up as we speak. Your thoughts on the hire, what it means for the Knicks, everything in between.
I am confused as to why they fired Tom Thibodeau if this was their plan. I like Mike Brown. I thought Mike Brown did a nice job in Sacramento. I think Mike Brown is a good NBA head coach. I don't think we need to fire Tom Thibodeau to rush in Mike Brown as our next head coach if you're the New York Knicks.
I'm going to sit here and make the claim that this was not their plan.
Oh,
they had some kind of plan, and it blew up in their face.
Or the plan was, we don't care who it is as long as it's not Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Which I can't say I fully agree with that plan.
I just am confused by the Knicks again and again. And this one, I don't know. It's just, it's a move, right? Like it's okay.
The East is open. The East is there for them. So they have to hope they got this right because this might be their one chance. Boston's taking a step back with Tatum out. Indiana's taking a step back with Halliburton out, and they let Miles Turner go. Cleveland's really the only team you have to fully worry about. Like this feels like your chance to make a run, so you better hope that you hired the right guy.
Manny Machado last night collected his 2000th career hit against the Diamondbacks. And that begs the question for me. Who's the next active player that's going to get to 3,000?
Do you have a list?
I do.
So you're prepared.
I am prepared.
I would not have been able to do this off of the top of my head.
Yeah.
So you want to know who's going to get next to 3,000?
I want to hear who you think it could be.
All right.
And I'll give you the top 5.
Please.
So Manny Machado cracked the top 5 of active players on the hit count last night.
Okay.
2001. He's played 14 years. He's age 32.
So you're looking at maybe
a chance at 3,000.
6 or 7 more years.
He needs about I was going to say at 150 hits a year, 160 hits a year, needs about 6 years.
So he's got to be producing 150 to 160 hits when he's 37 or 38 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paul Goldschmidt, probably not going to get there. Age 37, 2,100 hits.
No, he needs 900 hits and he's 37 years old. No, not happening.
Andrew McCutchen,
not happening.
Also probably not going to get there. 38 years old, 2,200. The next two get interesting.
Okay.
Because I think despite being the same age,
okay,
I feel really differently about one of these guys compared to the other.
Okay.
Number 2 on the list is Jose Altuve.
Okay, so Jose Altuve.
Age 35, 2,300 hits.
He's at 2,300 hits, you said?
Yeah.
So 2,300 hits. He's 35. I'm pulling up his baseball reference page because I want to see how many hits he's had each of the last couple of years. So 185 in 153 games last year. He's at 91 hits so far this year in 88 games played. He was an all-star last year. His 162 game average is 197 hits. So let's round up and say it's 200. He would need 4 more years at 200 hits.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had 200 hits since 2017. No, he's not getting there. He's not getting there.
The other one is Freddie Freeman.
Oh, Frederick.
At 35 years old with 23.58. Just a couple hits in front of Jose Altuve. And the reason I said I feel different about these. Jose Altuve, I'm with you. I don't think he gets there. I feel pretty confident Freddie Freeman will get 3,000 hits.
His 162 game average for his career is 181 hits. So he would need, he's going to finish this year probably at 2,400. So he would need 600. He would need 4 years. He'd have to play until around he's 40.
And I just feel like he's the guy that would do that.
Too many injuries. He's dealing with the ankle thing, the foot thing right now.
Yeah. But the reason I say that is, his average, you said, is 181.
His 162 game average, according to Baseball Reference, is 181 hits a season.
He missed some games last year. He played 147. He had 153.
Sure.
Okay. Let's look at the last 2 years.
No, yeah.
199 and 211.
No,
he's above his average. It feels as if he's getting better.
I hear you. But he's already 35. And as we sit here right now,
he had his best season ever at 33.
He needs 642 hits from today. That's like 4.5, 5 seasons. And that's staying at this pace of getting 181. If he has a year where he hits 170 hits, then the next year he's got to have 190 hits to make up for the 10 that he lost. So
it's gonna be hard.
No.
So do you think Manny Machado has the best odds?
Let me look. I don't think anyone's getting to 3,000 based on the conversations that we've just had.
Do you think another player will get to 3,000 hits?
It's going to be really difficult. Yes.
You do?
I do.
You think the pendulum will swing back?
I don't know if it'll swing back, but I'll tell you. Let me just check his numbers just to see. But the person that I think is going to get there, that's how many hits he has right now. I think there's a world where Juan Soto gets there.
Yeah.
He's 26 and he just picked up his 1,000th hit this season.
Yeah.
Now, his 162 game average is the lowest out of any of the players we've talked about so far at 161. But he's 26 years old. So let's just say we double what he is done right now. When he's 32,
he'll have 2,000.
He'll have 2,000.
Which is exactly where Manny Machado sits.
But everybody would agree, Soto a better player than Machado.
Yes. Yeah.
And last year, Soto had 166 hits, a new career high. So that 161 number could start to go up.
Yeah, they say as you get to 29, 30, you become a better hitter, right? That's the typical.
Where you start to peak, yes.
Yeah. Machado is interesting.
I think it's going to be tough, but okay.
Machado is certainly interesting, and he's, his 178 is the 162 average. 14 years. I think he could play 5 more.
I'm trying to look at a player
if he plays till 40, he's going to get it.
Could Devers get there? Devers is at 1,154 hits, and he's only 28 years old.
It's probably the next closest. I agree with you. I think Soto's the closest one.
It's just tough.
It's going to be really hard in today's
because
baseball.
How many guys come up when they're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old? Everyone comes up when they're 24, 25, and you just don't have a long enough runway to do this. That's going to do it for us here on this edition of The Lunch Break. Jim Rome, he's coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!